11% of credit card balances in the U.S. are now 90-plus days delinquent, the highest since 2012. U.S. credit card debt hit a record $1.14 trillion in the second quarter, rising 11% over the last year. At 21.5%, the average credit card interest rate in the U.S. is over 7 percentage points higher than the historical average. Check out this chart comparing the size of the U.S. stock market to that of Asia or Europe. You can even combine the other two regions together, and U.S. is still larger by around 2 times. The bond market is now fully pricing in a hard landing and a recession. Meanwhile, everyone on Wall Street says things are fine and a soft landing is coming. Foreign direct investments in China are crashing down. U.S. student loan debt balances are 0.3% lower than they were 2 years ago. That's the largest 2-year decline on record. The personal savings rate in the U.S. has moved down to 3.4%, the lowest since 2022. Average over the last 30 years is 5.8%. Persistent inflation is taking its toll. Truflation's real-time U.S. inflation gauge has moved down to 1.4%, the lowest level in the past year. 25 years ago, Walmart revenue was 142 times larger than Amazon. 20 years ago, its revenue was 45 times larger. 10 years ago, it was 6 times larger. 5 years ago, it was 2 times larger. Today, it's only 10% larger. The combined revenue of the Big Four U.S. tech companies hit a record $1.56 trillion over last 12 months. S&P 500 profit margins moved up to 12.1% in Q2, their highest level since Q4 2021. With 82% of companies reported, S&P 500 TTM operating earnings are on pace to hit another record high, up 5.5% over the past year. Berkshire Hathaway is now holding 25% of their assets in cash, the highest percent since 2004. Historical average cash position, 14%. The 30-year mortgage rate in the U.S. moved down 26 basis points over the last week to 6.47%, its lowest level since May 2023. Gas prices in the U.S. have moved down to $3.45 per gallon, national average, from $3.82 per gallon a year ago, 10% decline. If this holds, will likely be a factor in pushing down headline CPI for August. Global Central Bank update. Mexico cut rates for the second time this year. 25 basis points moved to 10.75%. Peru cut rates for the 9th time. 25 basis points decreased to 5.50%. The percent of bulls in the Investors' Intelligence Sentiment Index moved down over 17% in the past 2 weeks, from 64% to 47%. That's the biggest 2-week percent drop in bulls since the October 1987 crash. Corn is now trading at its lowest price since October 2020. Soybean prices are now at lowest point since September 2020. Second consecutive weekly close below the 200-day moving average for Amazon. Hedge funds have now built the largest net short position on commodities in 13 years. Tech stocks just had their worst monthly performance relative to the S&P 500 in 22 years, but before this, they had their best month in 20 years. Money market funds hit all-time high of $6.19 trillion. Value of U.S. housing market hits all-time high of $49.6 trillion. Heat map of the S&P 500's performance from this past week. S&P 500 forward 12-month PE is 20.2, 5-year average is 19.4, and 10-year average is 17.9. VIX ended up falling by 3 points this week. S&P 500 last Friday was 5,346. S&P 500 yesterday was 5,344. Will sellers creep back into the picture on Monday? That's it for today. I hope it was useful. I'll see you guys again very soon. Later.